You're listening to Bridges Radio Program. This is a show about the creative industries, artists of all mediums, and other professionals who make the art we all enjoy. Bridges is produced at Citadel House Studios in Lewisport, Newfoundland and Labrador, and is a collaborative project between Carolyn R. Parsons and Citadel House. This program can be found on iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, Spotify, and in podcast at SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts, as well as many other podcast hosting programs.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Bridges Radio. I am Bonny Stairs, and I'm here with Carolyn. How are you today?
Hey, how you doing, Bonny?
Great. Last week, we heard from Leslie Hewitt and Beyond the Overpass, a little bit about that. And this week, our episode is episode 12. It is December 7th, and we're talking to Nick Earle later in the episode about his solo work. He started to branch off into solo artist work rather than just working in his duo, Earle and Coffin. So yeah, that's going to be a little snapshot of today, what we're talking about. But first off, Carolyn, how are you? What are you up to?
I'm great. Can you believe it's December 7th already? And that we are doing episode 12?
Unreal. I know.
It seems like we just started. It has really kind of flown by when we had this idea and started putting it together. And now we're already like a dozen weeks in. And it's just sort of become a thing we do. And it's December 7th. We're getting ready for Santa Claus and all that fun stuff and all the Christmas goodies and stuff. No tree up here. We don't put trees up yet. We like.
When do you put your tree up?
Traditionally, we put it up late compared to most people. It's whatever the weekend of the solstice, so the 21st of December. So whatever weekend is just around that. Like if it's the 23rd, no, we put it up the weekend before. Do you know what I mean? So we usually do it on a Saturday afternoon. And, it's sort of become our tradition to put it up the weekend just because if the 21st falls on a weekend, that's great. But if it doesn't, then we just go to the weekend because the girls are home from school and Kent's off work. And I have nothing to do with decorating the tree. I am allergic, and actually I'm allergic right now. I just took antihistamine. I am allergic to real Christmas trees, and I'm allergic to fake Christmas trees. I can't touch them.
Oh, boy.
And I'm allergic to cats, and my cat was around, so I just sit here and supervise. But I figure after I've had, my oldest is 28, and so before that I was putting up trees when I was living on my own. So I figure I've been putting up trees long enough that I can just hand over that. So we have a pretend tree, a fake tree, and Kent assembles it. It's pre-lit, and then the girls decorate, and I just sit here and put on missing hooks or, give a little bit of instruction.
You DJ the Christmas playlist, don't you?
I do. That's what I do.
Yeah.
I am the curator of the tree.
Going to be... Are you going to be playing Ian's new record this year?
I am.
Ian and Nancy.
Yeah. It's interesting because I talked to Ian. That episode aired on November 30th or around there, 28th. Whatever that Friday was. And he played at Citadel House on the 30th, I think. And so, and I did that great interview with Ian, and I committed to his album being my Christmas album of the year, because every year I purchase a new CD or something. And Christmas, so I have a little bit of a collection now. I usually buy a movie, and I buy a CD. And so his CD will be my Christmas CD, and definitely got to have it. And I've been playing it. I've been playing the like a download Spotify stuff. So I play it on Spotify too because I have a subscription. I might as well use it.
Yeah, but then you have your physical copy. You can get them to sign it, and it helps support more directly.
Absolutely,
which is really
that's
nice.
what I like to do. But I mean, I don't have a CD player. I have one in my car. But
Okay.
yeah, and when I was on my book tour, there's always an overlap between writers, right? They write music, they do books, they do different things, right? So um, someone gave me Tango Cove, as a matter of fact, and I'll probably be talking to them at some point. They're looking at a spring tour out around Central. And so they gave me some copies. Dan Rubin is the guy. He's a writer, but he also is a musician. And he gave me copies of all sorts of CDs. And I listen to them in the car because that's the only option I have. But it's great because I have that option and driving and stuff. But yeah, so now I Spotify just about everything because it's just easier. And but when I get the chance to buy a CD from an artist that I like, I buy it because I feel that's important to support when I can. Listen to it in the car.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It's always nice, too, when you go to a show or something and you get to meet the person at the merch table and have them sign it and, like, make that human connection for a little bit. Like, that's I would pay $20 for the CD just to like, say hi and fangirl a little bit and tell them I really like them and then turn really red and run away. That's pretty much how I approach every single merch table ever.
Well, I don't generally run away, but drag me off. But you're right for two reasons. First of all, the artist likes that too, they like to meet people who appreciate their music and their work. I mean, I write books, and there's nothing I like more than for someone to say, "Oh, I read your book," and hopefully say it was good or whatever, that they enjoyed it. But I love that. It's like that's why I do it, right? And so that extends to all of the artists, and musicians love that as well. But secondly, I think the artist gets more money if you buy their actual merchandise, and so
oftentimes, yes.
Yeah. So I like to support the arts financially. It's where I'm not a consumer. I always say if everybody was like me, we'd have no economy because I'm not a buyer of a lot of things, but I buy books and I buy music and I buy concerts and music events and stuff like that. Like that's where my money goes. And
experiences.
So and art of any kind that I can afford. Art's expensive, but I buy what I can and make the rest. But yeah, I will definitely. Ian's stuff is always so good. I have all of his albums and CDs, I should say, and so yeah,
they're great.
So what have you been doing in Toronto?
Piddling away. Yesterday I was at a show at the Burdock, which was I heard or I saw this band that I would never have heard of or had seen if I hadn't worked at the Burdock that night. So I was very pleased. I'm called Tiger Bomb. It's 4 young women, and they play harp, guitar, bass, and vibraphone, I think is what it is. It's like a xylophone or like a giant glockenspiel, but the girl plays it with like violin bows.
Wow.
And the 4 of them have gorgeous harmonies. I cannot even explain. Like all the other artists and musicians in the room or the whole room actually was just dead silent. They were the opening act for a hip hop group.
Oh wow!
So it was like very, very, very different sides of the spectrum, but it was so good, and everyone was just entirely captivated by their art, which was beautiful, and I really liked them. They were really nice too. They came over after, and we talked about giant sweaters. So I was pleased.
Well, there you go. Made that connection.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I think they're called Tiger Bombs, which was cool.
Yeah. Isn't that a medicated cream?
I think bomb like explosive, but it might be, yeah.
Yeah, no, I think it's BALM. Tiger Bomb.
Yeah.
Maybe that's it. They're soothing.
That very well could be. Yeah.
I don't know. That's funny.
Kind of funny, actually.
When you said that, I'm thinking, okay, I shouldn't make. Well,
I've heard
band names are supposed to be sort of conversation starters and a little bit interesting. So I guess there's that.
Yeah, or they don't have to be, but it's fun when they are.
It is. Yeah,
and it's memorable.
Yeah. What is the one that I really like? There's one. Oh, May Hemingway's I think that's just one of the best band
Oh,
names.
yeah.
Right? Like
Yeah.
Mayhem.
Well,
And then
they're
Hemingway.
a fantastic band.
And they're
then their name.
fantastic anyway. Yeah, that's one of my favorite band names. And one of my favorite, I love them anyway, but I love their name. So.
The May Hemingways, yeah.
Yeah. So
well, what about your literary tour? You had some stuff on the go, did you not?
Oh, yeah. Now, that was back November 17th in St. John's. And it was, as far as I'm concerned, a great success. We had lots of people out for our panels. And we had great authors. I mean, you know, as writers, I think there's nothing we like more than to just all of us be together and be able to talk the craft and talk to each other and see what kind of projects people are working on. And just, you know, we had a panel on world building. We had a panel on marketing your work, which was the most popular. The room was filled, I'm sure, with mostly authors who are wondering, how can I sell more of my books? And that's, you know, important. And I think it was a really good panel. We had Gary Cranford from Flanker Press, who was looking at it from the aspect of, you know, I'm a publisher, but I want my authors to market their work as well, like it's a partnership. And then we had Karen Silver, who is an amazing independent children's author who she's brand new and she has books. She's really good at distribution and getting her stuff in front of people, you know, for real. And Candace Osmond, who was really good at online marketing. So we had a really nice, you know, 3 of them on the panel. So it was a nice mix of people. The room was packed. I didn't host that one, but I don't know that the host even had to ask any questions. Like, the audience was just on the ball. I hosted the world building one, and I hosted one on the writing process called Inspiration versus Perspiration. In other words, your ideas versus actually sitting down and doing the work.
Yeah.
That was a great panel. We had Scott Bartlett, who I talked about before, writes sci-fi, spec fiction. It's absolutely wonderful stuff. I just started reading his work. We had Harlequin romance author J. Margot Critch. Juanita is her name, really. And Juanita Critch. And we had Gary Collins, who, by the way, big news from Gary, he has been nominated for the the Dublin International Literary Award. There are 3
Wow.
Yeah, there are 3 Newfoundlanders.
Congratulations.
I think there are, I want to say 8. I can't. Well, I don't know. 2 numbers in my head: 8 or 11 Canadians. I don't know which it is now. It's been a while, but so it's not a big number of Canadians, really. And out of that, 3 of them are Newfoundland authors, and one of them is Gary Collins, who is nominated for his book, The Last Beothic. And so, so that's big news. And that's I think, one of the biggest literary prizes in the world if you win it. It's something like $100,000.
Whoa.
Yeah. It's a rich prize.
Amazing.
So he's longlisted for that.
Well, congratulations to them.
Yeah, I'm very proud because we had Gary on the show. He's one of our earlier guests like a few weeks back, and he's a good friend of mine. And I think he knew it at the literary at the grand finale, but he couldn't tell anybody. So, because he says, you're gonna be emailing me. You're gonna be emailing me, and I'm like, and then he left it, and I'm like, I don't even know, why am I gonna be emailing? Of course, then I find out he won this nomination for this award. So, of course, right away I emailed him and said, you know, okay, now I know why you said I was gonna be emailing.
You predicted it correctly.
Yeah, I'm very excited. And Bridget Canning was nominated for her book. I forget what it's called, but Wanda Janes is the character, something Wanda Janes. And I've read it. And so, yeah, both those, and I can't remember the others, but I was just really proud of Gary because he's such a great writer and a good friend, and he's been on the show, so I was really thrilled about that. And Mary Walsh was there. She was on the panel, and she was fantastic. She is so funny, warm, sweet, kind, came out, you know, volunteered her time and came out and did the panel and then hung around and chatted to people and took pictures with people because she's a superstar, right? I mean, everybody wants their photo with her, and, you know, she was a big hit. But she talked about her book, Crying for the Moon, and her writing and how terrible she's